Welcome into Mac and Mose. Andy McNamara, joined by the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com, Rob Mosley. We're here to wrap up Oregon's game at Washington State. It was a difficult one for the Ducks. They lose this one by a final of 51-33. Going into the week last week, I had my reservations. I felt it wasn't the best matchup for this team, this very inexperienced front seven that Oregon has. But by the end of the week, it felt like practice had gone well. I thought the attitudes were really good from the players, even up until game time, walking through the locker room. But it just wasn't meant to be at Washington State.
Yeah, it just never felt like things clicked where everything was on the same page. Defense gives up some stuff early. Offense scored a couple touchdowns, but defense couldn't stop the Cougs. In the third quarter, defense starts to get some stops, blocks a field goal, makes some plays to get momentum. Offense gives up a safety. I thought the offensive line struggled a little bit, looked young maybe for the first time or for the most that they have all season. And then I think by the fourth quarter, maybe guys were a little demoralized a little bit. Coach Herbert said he thought everybody kept playing hard, but mentally I think it might have got to the Ducks a little bit, and things just got away from him, particularly trying to stop the run.
Well, on a positive note, and to his point of playing hard, Charles Nelson, 100-yard touchdown return. That came late in this game. Special teams, Charles is now the FBS leader in total yards for all-purpose yards and for kickoff returns. Now, some might say it's because he's returned so many kickoffs because the Ducks are giving up a lot of points, but still, he's averaging over 30 points or 30 yards a return. I don't think that you can fault Charles for the fact that he's getting opportunities back there. He's certainly making the most of them.
Yeah, he's a dynamic guy. You understand why they want the ball in his hands. On the other hand, Mark Helfrich has talked too about how they almost over-rely on him. I think you saw with some of the 2-point plays earlier, maybe there was a little too much on his plate. Darren Carrington handling punts now. When they've streamlined Charles' workload a little bit. You can see what he can do with the ball in his hands, and we can focus on a few things doing those well. I thought he's caught the ball better a little bit the last couple weeks too.
Yeah, agreed.
So just streamlining his workload, I think maybe has paid some dividends there.
Royce Freeman comes back in this one. He had missed almost 2 full games. Had a tough time getting going early. Washington State's defense, credit to their defensive line, because they were able to break through and actually tackle Royce several times for lost yardage. But once he was able to get in a little bit more of a rhythm and the offensive line tightened up things a little bit, he was able to get his 100 yards, had another really long touchdown run, an impressive run where he was able to set up blocks and then use his speed to get to the end zone on a 75-yard touchdown. He's the only player in the Power 5 with 2 runs now of 70 or more yards on the season, and he's essentially played only 3 games.
Yeah, and Jaylen Brown, another block downfield, both those 70-yard runs. Jaylen Brown has played a big part in eliminating the last guy. Darren Carrington had a nice block on Jake Breland's long play late in the game. Again, that was another sign Mark Helfrich decided the fact that, hey, guys were playing hard to the end, so that it wasn't an effort issue. But early on, inability to stop the run, helping Washington State be balanced on offense. The fact they were able to run for 280 and put up 650 yards of offense, you just can't let an offense like that be that balanced. And then offensively, missing a couple plays early, Dakota Prukop and Charles Nelson just, barely unable to hook up on a long play. Again, just not able to get things to click. Again, never just really seemed like everything was on the same page.
Another thing to bring up in this one, toward the end of the game, you mentioned Jake Breland's long reception. Justin Herbert gets a chance to actually run a series. He did make an appearance in the season opener. He just took basically the last snap of the game, and it was over. But this was a chance for the true freshman from Sheldon High School to actually get out there and run a drive for the Oregon Ducks. He was 3 for 5 on the drive. Had kind of one of his completions. He set up Kenai Benoit in an unfortunate spot where Kenai took a really big shot, but then he makes the completion to Breland. He ends up scoring at the end of the drive on a really nice rollout where I was talking to some people on the sideline out of practice this morning, about his speed. When he gets up to speed, and he was moving by the time he got to the pylon in the end zone.
Yeah, he's not, Marcus Mariota obviously was a big guy who was up to speed immediately. Herbert takes a little bit longer to get going. His 40 time's not going to be Marcus-like, but yeah, once he got going with that long stride, that was impressive. Just a great atmosphere for him to get on the field. on the road. It wasn't a very hostile crowd. Honestly, given the way the game was going, I was shocked with how quiet it was most of the night. They didn't seem that into it. But yeah, to get that experience, talking to David Yost today after he watched film, the quarterback's coach, he thought there were, the play to Kanai. Coach Yost thought Carrington might have been a better option on that play. He thought there was a run read later in the drive where Herbert might have been better off keeping, but he handed off. But ultimately, he put points on the board, and he got the ball in the hand of playmakers, and that's what you want guys to do. So really encouraging for him. Hopefully, fans saw some signs of why, the folks who are participating in practice have been so excited about him, and also that there's stuff for him to learn too. And so that was a good environment for him to do so.
Yeah, glimpse of the future for Oregon. The Ducks have taken a pounding publicly for the transfer quarterbacks the last couple of years and not being able to develop a quarterback. And we could go on and on about that. I've got plenty of opinions of my own as to why things like that happen. But it was nice to see the kid out there, and he definitely he looked comfortable, and that's what I think you never really know until you put somebody in a situation. You can watch all the I was a great batting practice hitter in high school myself, but when the lights went on, it was a little bit different. So you just never know.
Absolutely, I was a garbage batting practice hitter even, so I don't even know what that's like.
Well, the Ducks have it doesn't get any easier. It's a home game this week. It's Washington, Oregon with a 12-game winning streak in this one. Washington is right now the toast of the Pac-12 conference. They're a top 10 team. It should be a great atmosphere at Autzen Stadium. And certainly at the beginning of this one, I have to think that the Oregon fans are going to bring it, as they always do in this series. So it'll be an exciting game, the Huskies and the Ducks. Rob and I will be back later in the week to preview that. Until then, if you have any questions for us, you can comment on Facebook. You can also reach us on Twitter. I am at McNamara UO. He is at Duck Football. Until next time, we'll see you.